All right, welcome back, guys. So what I did in a little prep, this guy's been sitting here and hardening up a little bit. He's still really soft. We should wait a little bit longer, but again, I told you at the beginning of the video, I have no patience. So I did go ahead and roll a coil out and then flatten it and put a little texture in it. I don't know if you can see the texture for his little scarf that we're going to use. Now you need just a clump of clay. You do want to try to make sure there's no air in it, of course. And just think about, the hardest part for me is trying to figure out what kind of face to put on them. So we're going to stay very generic today, okay? So I'm going to pinch off, we've all done this, pinch off a little bit of clay, roll it into a ball in the palm of your hand, and that'll be his eyeball. One of them anyway. And then we're going to pinch a little bit more clay off. Now the goal is, again, to try to keep them all about the same size. And I'm going to compare it, and yes, perfect. Now, the next thing is every snowman has to have a carrot nose. So I pinch off just a little bit more. And I'm going to start by rolling it into a ball in the palm of my hand. And then, once I get a ball, I'm going to stop and put my fingers and roll it back and forth and push on one end. And what that does is make it kind of a, let me see if I can get over here where you can see it, kind of a teardrop. And that'll be the carrot for his nose. And then, of course, you can refine the shape a little bit. And then I always just tap it flat on the board, or you can tap it with your finger, whichever one. Now, I always like a little bit of a stuck-up snowman, so I always make sure the nose is pointed up. Reminds me of my Aunt Shirley just a lot. So the first thing we're going to do is take your needle tool, okay? And we're going to figure out, where do we want this nose? We'll say right about there. We're going to scratch it up a little bit, and then we're going to scratch up and score the bottom of that nose a little bit. And that way we'll get a really good attachment. And then I take just a regular old paintbrush, dip it in the water that I've been doing my pottery in, and touch on both ends. And then make sure that little nose is sticking up, and we'll put it right on that area. Now I'm going to gently wiggle back and forth. That wiggle motion actually creates a good seal. It makes the two clays become one. And then I just take that same brush and run around the edge. Okay, can you already see Mr. Snowman? His nose ain't quite sticking up enough. We got to add a little sass to that. All right, we'll just bump that up a little bit. Now, the next thing with the eyeballs is the exact same way. Now, keep in mind, I'm doing this backwards so that you can see what I'm doing. So hopefully I won't mess them. They won't look afflicted. Now, because these are so small, I don't always score the back of them, but I do put the water on there. And I'm going to put it, and I'm going to kind of roll my finger and wiggle it a little bit and flatten it out. Same thing with the other one. We'll put it right there where the water was. Wiggle a little bit. Try not to push too. You saw how it gave a little under my hand because of the pressure. I'm going to put my finger on the inside just because, and I'm going to tap it flat a little bit. Same over here. Just to make sure I don't change the shape. Now, just because you want a good adherence, you want to go around that with that paintbrush. Now, there's still water on that paintbrush. Not a lot, but enough that'll cause it almost to act like glue. And when you do the motions around it, that will make it seal. I'm trying to keep an eye on my puppy dogs, too, because they tend to like to run off sometimes. Now, you are going to make a mouth. This is where you have some decisions to make, too. You can do, I guess what you call the standard expected mouth, where you put like clumps of coals like I did for the eyes, or you can draw like I did on the other one and make a lip. It's just totally what you were looking for as far as the look of your snowman. Now, I think just for today, I will show you how to do that little fancy face. But to do that, we're going to have to move this camera. So I'm going to stop this for just a minute and reposition.